Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to a new episode of Kevirsyle Network. I am your host, Kevin Davis. My voice sounds muffled at the moment due to that I have the flu, but the grind don't stop. As always, I'm a comic creator, writer, entrepreneur, go-giver. Occasionally get yelled at for not sleeping, especially while being sick. But today's guest, we actually welcome back to Kevirsyle Network, but this time this is our first live stream on the Kevirsyle Network. So please welcome my friend August Lewis to the show. How you doing, Augie?
Doing pretty good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm okay. Taking it day by day.
Good.
Like my voice just kind of out of it right now because of congestion, but the grind don't stop.
That is true.
Well, welcome back to the show. You was my first guest actually on Council Network
Yes,
last year when it was pre-recorded, but this is your first time on the live stream now since
it
I turned
is.
this to a live stream. So let's get a refresher, like for a new take, and like let us know, well, let people know about you and what you do.
Yeah. I do many things. I think like the first thing is people could see I got my dog in the back, so I take care of four pets. I have three cats and a dog. But I also I do a lot of cooking and baking. So I with the small baking business, I'll bake whenever I get orders or just bake for fun, just to kind of get rid of ingredients. Also do a lot of writing, and I'm in a theater company here in New York City called Epic Players. So yeah, I'm
Wow.
many things.
You go from baking to acting to writing to taking
Yeah.
care of dogs and cats and
uh, we're part-time, I guess, like mother's helper for a family, which
ah,
I love that family. So
heck yeah. Tell us a bit about your background in theater. That sounds really interesting.
it's very minimal. It's very small. I started, I want to say, back in elementary school. The very first show I was ever in, we were not allowed to be in a show in like kindergarten, first grade. The shows started
Mhm.
when we were in second grade, and it was Peter Pan, and I played as a lost boy because that was the only roles we were really allowed to play. And
Oh wow.
yeah, no, so they had it by kind of like grade. The older you are, the bigger the role you most likely would get, from what I remember.
Uh,
And so I was a lost boy, and I believe we have this camera somewhere that still has me in one of the songs. I believe it was Ugga Wug. And we know it's now racist, but at the time we weren't. I don't think my school is progressive enough to know that. And again,
mhm.
we were also very little. We're in second grade. We don't understand this. Um, and then I think we did. I was in two other shows in elementary school. I was a part of. Ooh, this is if my memory is very clear right now, which it normally is. Um, let's see. Oh, I was in Annie. I believe it was
Ooh.
ensemble at the time. And I auditioned for, I think it was Mrs. Hannigan and or Annie.
Mm.
And I was more than fine being an ensemble because I got to be in maybe they gave the ensemble like a small singing part, and maybe even though it was originally supposed to be in a my dog's in the back. Buddy, if I could do this without distracting myself. Well, at this point, can I give up on my dog? Um, he'll stop eventually. And then I did Bye Bye Birdie, and I played as the mayor. At the time, I wasn't big on playing a male role.
Mhm.
Um, because I wanted to be a female role. I wanted to be a female lead. Like, it let me do my thing. Um,
Mhm.
and then sixth grade happened. I was in the Angry Mob, and I think it was like Chorus and Shrek.
Cool.
Um, and then I got like maybe like a small solo because somebody was sick. I played the dish and the spoon during travel song, so I got to run across the stage. It was like a steps to a metal bridge.
Mhm.
Like scream like help me, like we're running away from the police. Um,
Ah, gotcha. Okay, gotcha.
fun.
Yeah.
I was a part of a musical review as well in high school. I was in the ensemble for Kiss the Girl. I still have the video from a Facebook group that I'm in still. Um, and I see myself not knowing the choreography at all. I'm not good at memorizing choreography, so you know what? I tried. I had fun. I was also in a Belle slash Gaston mashup. So it
Oof.
starts off with Belle's, like the song about her,
Yeah.
really talking crap about her, and then we
Yeah.
get Gaston, and everybody's like oohing and awing over this man. And that matchup was a lot of fun. Because I got to do this
My
with
my
friends.
body ain't coordinated enough to learn choreography.
No, absolutely not. And then the pandemic happened, and I
Mm,
was in, I want to say, junior year going into senior year. I graduated during COVID. And because of
mhm,
that, there became this influx of a singing app called Smule and Discord, which is what I use almost 100% of my day,
mm,
maybe 3 to 4 days a week. And
mhm,
we started doing something called online theater, where there was singing competitions that would start up, and people would start directing like full-fledged shows that we would call more so cover groups, because that's the only way we were allowed to do this.
mm,
So people would be doing Hamilton, and that was around the time that those songs are getting taken down. So I know there are recordings that I was in from like 4 or 5 years ago that are no longer exist on Smule.
mm.
And thankfully
Wow.
so, because you could hear my voice crack 5 years ago, because I'm now 23, and 5 years ago I would have been 18. So it would have
Mm,
been like just getting into like college and everything. And so now with online theater, it became such a big community that that's how I met a lot of these friends that I now talk to. I became friends with this whole group of people that are like my staff. We have Jillian, Christina, Alyssa, Nick, Luca, who people know about. Jillian, uh, I could talk about a dozen plus names I can mention, and some people would know who I'm talking about, some people will not.
mm,
But we became really close because of COVID, and a lot of us became obsessed. We're also just theater kids, so there was that huge closeness of being obsessed with theater and wanting to do shows, playing dream roles we may not be able to play in real life due to looks, vocals, vocal ranges, etc. There's a lot of things, the stereotypes of what we can and cannot play. We make the joke, it's not the joke, but the comment of with being plus sized, we don't really get to play those roles that might be given towards the skinnier, prettier sounding people.
mm,
And so with online theater, I would get to play the male characters that I may never get to play in real life. There's only one non-binary character, and the whole entire that I know of. I'm also very uncultured with certain theater shows that I know of with a non-binary character in Juliet with May being a huge dream role, and I get to do that, and I'm learning a whole new show in real life right now. I didn't end up getting a rent, which was okay, but that gave me a bigger opportunity to go for another show or two. And I'm a part of a class called Epic Sings, and the two shows this year is are Word Grease and SpongeBob. I do not know SpongeBob at all. I didn't know, I knew it was a musical. I wasn't into it at the time. I wasn't a huge fan because I'm not a
fair.
huge fan
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah.
It's a funny show. There's bits and pieces of the characters that I'm just And I ended up getting casted as Pearl. And I got to do a character analysis. Buddy, excuse me. My dog is getting into things he should not be getting into. Buddy, back up. Lay back down, please. And I have a homework that I have to do after this too for that class. Excuse me, buddy. Called It's like a character analysis where you're basically character analysis where my dog, can you sit, good boy, stay. Where basically I had to do research on Pearl and get
Mm,
to know her better, because that's how I have to act as her. And she's
mm,
16, and she's a very, very bratty character, and she's in a song that I never expected to fall in love with. It's called Daddy Knows Best, which is basically Mr. Krabs obsessing over how he's always going to be right. Is that Licky? Hi. Hi, Licky. Love you. Yeah, but basically, with being Pearl and doing that character analysis, finding out that she was adopted, but for tax purposes, I get to play into the reason why she acts the way she is because she wants that attention from her dad that she doesn't get. And she wants that love and attention. So in Daddy Knows Best, it's literally him interrupting her. She's like, Daddy! And she wants that attention. And she has
Yeah, I remember that song from the show when I was a kid.
it's so good. It is so
Yeah.
funny. I'm saying this through gritted teeth that I'm starting to like the show because there are some people in Epic Players that are really good friends of mine that will
Hmm.
see this later and they'll be like, "Oh, now you're describing how much you like the show."
That is
Hi,
so true. That is
sweetie.
true.
Hi. I can see their comments. I'm like, "Hi." No, and yeah, it's interesting to play a character that is very opposite of me. I'm very much so introverted until I get to know people. And she's outright bratty, rude, inconsiderate. She like I also understand where she's coming from though. So it's exciting to play somebody who's very opposite of me and I get to practice that tomorrow in class and learn her song. Excuse me, buddy. um learn her learn her song and I get to do this with somebody who I've never really got to get to know in person. So yeah, that's my little theater. Oh, fun, have fun. But I'm
Have
excited.
fun, Licky.
Have fun, Leaky. I didn't know that was Leaky until I saw the name and I saw the little
Yeah,
icon. I'm like, Leaky. Love
yeah.
you.
And
But
then
yeah.
and then from being a theater person, you also bake as well.
Ooh.
What type of things do you bake?
Um, anything
And
and
also,
everything.
what made you kind of get into baking and also theater and also writing instead of
Ooh,
thing?
that's hard. A lot. There's a lot of different um I guess like factors into each reason why or each I guess like interest that I had. With cooking, it started with watching the Food Network. I was maybe in middle school. Like he's texting me through Discord. Like, hey, um, I would appreciate you. I'm gonna ignore that message. With, one thing it did start with Food Network. It was my mom's cooking too. My mom would be cooking, and I'd be watching the Food Network. And there was this like barbecue TV show thing. I don't know what it was called. It was like barbecue championships, and it
Mm,
was based outside. And there was this girl who looked to be around maybe around 12, 13, a couple years older than me at the time. And
mm,
she infused her ribs with pineapple juice. And I was so
interesting.
intrigued by that that I started experimenting at home and I asked my mom if I could start helping her with cooking. And my mom is probably gonna fact check this later. Um with her cooking. But it's also my dad's cooking. He's gonna really hate me for this. Um the reason why I also kind of got into cooking was because that's true. It is good to have multiple hobbies because I feel like if I didn't have multiple hobbies, I would be going insane in my own house. But yeah, with cooking, it was more so. And again, my dad will kill me for mentioning these two quick stories. The very first time I think my mom would be working, she'd be at this is at the time I think my before my parents started working together. My
Mm,
mom would come home late, so my dad was my dad mom, and he did a lot of the cooking, which at the time was pretty good. The older I got, the more my mom started doing the cooking because she started coming back home. Um, love you, Leggy. I'll talk to you later. But basically, my dad had we needed to get rid of a lot of things in the freezer, and
mm,
I was starting to experiment with cooking more so at that point and it was like, I think it was a frozen white fish with frozen mozzarella sticks and like quinoa, like the Trader Joe's rice packets that you just heat up
Yeah.
in minutes. So it was
Yeah.
quinoa. My dad didn't add any seasoning except for I think salt and pepper. And my mom and I are looking at each other like this, like, what is this? And we call it the white meal because it's all white things. I believe it was mozzarella sticks, but again, we have this conversation almost once a week about this dinner. The second time my dad ever cooked was, I think we were having a garden. We had like a small rectangular garden in between our older neighbor when she was still there and us. And the cherry tomatoes, it's either cherry or grape tomatoes, one of the smaller varieties of tomatoes, grew over everything, and we needed to get rid of them. So I wanted pasta for dinner, and my dad decided, I think he washed the tomatoes, but again, I could be very wrong, and just put them straight into the pasta sauce without
Mhm.
asking if my mom and I wanted them in there. And my mom and I were trying this texture, which is a very new texture, and I'm very picky with certain textures. I didn't like it. We ordered McDonald's when my dad went to his meeting. But how we ordered McDonald's behind his back, and because of that, my dad's also just not a huge fan of cooking. He likes my mom and I's cooking better, which I take that more so as a compliment. I choose to cook. I choose to bake. It's not that I'm forced to. It's because I've been taking culinary since like I've been experimenting with flavors since like middle school. Apparently, there's a story my dad tells that when I was 2 years old or like three, when I started talking, like really talking, they were baking pizza in the oven one night, and I asked if there was cumin or oregano in the seasoning and the sauce. And they looked on the label and there was. And they were like, how do you smell that kind of an herb if you don't know what it is? And you're that young. And so I'm like, I don't know. I didn't even know that I did this. Like,
Mm.
wow, okay. So with cooking, I got more into it in high school. I took 4 years of culinary. It started off with just like I wanted to have fun. I also was just going for free food. That was my first that was the first reason. It was just free food in that class, and I was also dealing with biased teachers with, again, I had a different experience than my friends did with the theater classes in my high school. So, you know, they had a good experiences. I felt like I didn't fit 100%, so I switched to culinary after 3 weeks. And the teacher, his name is Professor Luff, and he was such an amazing teacher. The By I think it was my second year, we had 24 students in a very small classroom. It was a very small cooking classroom, maybe like 6 people per group, and it got more competitive by year 3, which meant only 15 of us would be able to make it in. So that
Wow.
maybe 9 to 10 of us out of that class. And by year 4, the only way you were able to get in is if you knew that you were going into culinary for college. And
Mhm.
you were kind of not allowed to lie about that. You had to kind of prove that you were serious about this. And I was very serious about this to the point where I visited the Culinary Institute of America and took a huge tour around their campus because one of the teachers came in, or representatives came in and taught us how to write on cakes and how to bake and how to make frosting and decorate cakes specifically with these different like meringues. And I was like very intrigued and I was going crazy about this. Um, we do, and I didn't even know this because I was undiagnosed in high school. So with that, it just, I don't know, something about cooking was very calming. And so by year 4, only 5 people are allowed in. I was one of those 5. And I'm very glad that I stuck with that class because that he was such an amazing teacher. He had such a big impact on me, and he did such an amazing job with teaching. He's still there at my high school. Um, I probably will end up sending him this. But he seriously, it was a lot of fun learning about how to shuck oysters, and we got to taste. I had tasted raw oysters for the first time in that class.
Oh,
We
oh.
added Tabasco sauce and lemon juice, and I
Mm.
added too much hot sauce to mine, but it was I liked it. It was fun. It was a fun
I'm
experience.
already sick right now. I don't want to get sick more.
Well, sorry.
So, yeah.
And then I went to Florida for a year for hospitality and realized, okay, maybe hospitality is not what I want to do. I want
Mm,
to keep cooking. Came back,
mm,
and went to culinary for 2 more years. I ended up constantly switching, um, not I wasn't careers, but like majors because I didn't know what I wanted anymore. I loved
uh,
cooking. I loved the friends I made. I still friends with this person. Her name was Nicole. Very, very shy, very sweet, very kind and understanding friend of mine. I still talk to her as much as I can. She lives in Hawaii right now. With her yeah, she went back to Hawaii, so, she has visited once or twice in the past, I think, couple years since she's moved. I haven't seen her since, and I really do miss her, but she was that first friend that I made, one of the first friends in my new college that I made, and she's a really good her cooking was amazing too. And we got to take up to like international or no, she left before or I think it was like my last semester of college. Or no, we took international cuisine together and then she left after
mm,
that. So with learning international cuisine, we went from different we got to make Greek food. There's African one night, one week. There was Indian, there was Chinese, Korean, Thai. It was from all around the world. And I still
mm.
have that cookbook somewhere in my room or somewhere downstairs in my massive amount of recipe books that I still have not gotten through every single recipe in there. I need to. But that sparked my culinary, my love of cooking, and just the fact that my parents love my cooking. I am very critical of myself. I never really try my food. I get scared that it's either not enough salt or too over seasoned or something's always wrong in my brain. Like that's where I'm like, okay, let me not try it first and have my parents try and be the guinea pigs. But slowly but surely I learned to taste test as I went. And I would have to get a new spoon every time because the rule in our house is if you're taste testing, don't use the same spoon. Get nasty if you do that. That's also in culinary. We're not allowed to use the same spoon. We use plastic spoons, and we just if we're gonna taste test again, maybe 10, 15 minutes later, you have to get a new spoon because
Smart.
you're
Yeah,
sharing with other people. If it was just
exactly.
yourself, go ahead, do that. Like no, you don't have. We would have no problem with that. But when you're sharing
Mm,
with like two, three, four other people, even one other person,
mhm.
just don't reuse the spoon. It's not
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
But yeah, with culinary, I bring home food for my uncle, who he's also my godfather. Without going to too much detail, he got to be very grateful with the free food, with living situations, and like we get to take him out for his birthday and everything, and but that free food meant a lot, and we got to make food every Monday for the food insecure at our campus, and we make maybe like 30 to 40 meals. I'm probably over exaggerating that as well, but around that many every Monday for that specific class, and that was very much so worth it. And food is just my love language. If I don't cook or bake for you, I'm sorry. No, I'm kidding. But it's my way of showing that I care about you. Like if I'm not a huge physical touch person. If you ask me if you ask me if I want a hug, I will most likely say yes potentially. But it takes me a while. So with baking and cooking, if you're coming over to my house, we're not going out if I don't want to. I am fully telling you to your face. I am planning out a meal. My friend Emma for her birthday. I've been friends with this girl since first grade. Um, she was going back to college, and I basically told her, I said, I'm going all out for your birthday. I did like lobster and linguine. We did wings. We went like all out with different meals, and I got to really go all out for her. Because that's how much I care about her as a friend. I did the same with my friend Schaefer and his friend. their birthday party was a couple weeks ago, and for both their birthdays, I baked them cookies. I did my monster cookies, and his
Oh, so good. Love those cookies. Sorry.
you're good. Cookie withdrawal.
Oh my God.
My,
Yeah.
his parents said
I remember you baked those for my birthday. That was so freaking good. I love those monster cookies.
I still bake recently because I try not to do box stuff, but I did because
Mm.
it's I wanted to try this recipe out. It's like a Trader Joe's cinnamon roll blondie mix
Oh, interesting. Okay.
that got eaten within like a day.
Yeah.
I made it 2 days ago. We finished them last night.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Mm.
it was really good, but yeah, that was I think that's kind of gotten, into cooking was getting that slight amount of praise from my parents, and it's not just the money that I get from it. It's also the fact that I get to plan out everything every week on Sunday. We plan around my mom's diet. We plan around the fact that we only do one cheat meal a week for her.
Mm.
So a lot of it's Mediterranean diet. So like this week, because I babysit two mother's helper, babysit 2 times a week, three depending on the month.
Mm.
Uh, I will pre-make meals for her. Like I pre-made chili a couple days ago in the crock pot. That turned out really good. And then yesterday I made homemade butternut squash soup, which was just I think it was like onions, garlic, butternut squash, and vegetable broth. And that was easy. Just blended it with an immersion blender and I put it in the crock pot just to stay warm.
Mm.
We have only 2 containers left, and I believe my parents took that for lunch because I did not see it when I went downstairs. But we still have a lot of chili left. So, but yeah, it's just also the smell of the kitchen. Like if the kitchen doesn't smell good, I will bake or cook just for my parents to come home to like a really warm house because it's very cold right now in New York. And it just that's my love language. I love it.
Heck yeah.
Feels like
And now, and you're also an official author now.
don't feel
And you
real still.
really, you
It,
just brought out your first book called the Rebus Table, I believe. Now,
yeah.
like, can you show it off to the people that's watching? Wait,
Hold on.
zoom you in real quick.
Coffee. A little grainy on my end. I don't know why. I think it's my laptop.
It
Um,
happens. But tell us a little bit of backstory of what the Reverse Table is and how did you come up with it? And anybody that
so
wants to purchase it, the link is right here in the comments. It's on Amazon right now,
it's
and it's
everywhere.
also on Barnes and Noble if you'd like to check out the Reverse Table. But tell us a bit of backstory of the Reverse Table. Jesus Christ, I can't
Very
speak
hard to
clear
say.
at the moment. But
It's a tongue
yeah,
twister.
yeah.
But yeah, basically, I think like the very beginning was it was the group chat between you, Katie, and I. And I said, I wanted to start writing. I needed something to do in the house. I was going crazy because I also don't have a full-time job. So I really needed something to get me out of my bed. And I had a monitor at the time because that's where you're on right now. That's my monitor. And my camera's on my laptop. So I'm looking up and down every once in a while. But yeah, basically I was like, hey, I need something to do. I need, I want to get into writing. Just give me something. You're like, do you want to write something for my magazine? And I said, sure. And it was supposed to be just a short story, and my brain can't do short stories. It goes into very heavy detail. I was told this in elementary, it was like middle elementary, high school, that my brain tends to go over analyzing and does too much details. I say what I think basically. And you were like, write something about spiders. And that's my phobia. I'm arachnophobic, and I wanted nothing to do with it. And I was very hesitant starting it. Actually, I was gonna push it away, being like, maybe like do something else. No spiders, no clowns allowed. And I was like, no, I need to get over it. And I was in this phase of watching Escape the Night at the time. Like I've been rewatching the show for I think it's like almost no, it couldn't have been a decade at this point. I don't know how long ago the show was existing for, but
Man,
it used to
eighth
be like
night. Jesus, yeah, that's a while.
it was a while. Joey Graceffa. I like it. Yes, there is some problematic YouTubers in there, but I don't watch it for them. I watch it for the plot and I watch it for the mythology, and a lot of it is for the SFX makeup. And I had gone up to, I think it was like season 2, and it had Liza Koshy, and like Liza, I was mainly there for Liza Koshy. I love her. I love her stuff. And there was this character. Her name is her mythology, I believe, is like Draguma or something like that. And it's basically, she, in his version, she would distract men. Like, she'd have these two henchmen women um distract these guys. They're like wearing like lingerie, I believe, like black lace lingerie, and they'd be playing a card game. It was like strip poker, and they basically had the men drink to the point where they would pass out, and she would wrap them in her web, and she killed them that way. And I was obsessed with that SFX stuff, and I go, what if I spun it my own way, with taking inspiration from that and mythology and every, because I love mythology. I love anything with like the, like psychic stuff, and like a lot of the stuff like Louisiana, like Princess and the Frog, voodoo kind of shit. I'm huge into that kind of like lore area. And I was just obsessing that over that for like a week, and I go, okay, I know this needs to be a short story, so let's try. And then I go back in the group chat maybe like 2 weeks later, maybe a little bit less. I'm like, I don't think I can make this a short story. This is very hard because there's so much that I want to put into it. And I started writing an outline, and I go, okay, this is going to be one book only. But that became hard because I said I wanted to leave it on a cliffhanger. And that would make no sense for it to be one book, just for it to have a cliffhanger, and that would piss probably people more off than they already are. And so I kept writing it, and I go, this needs to be a series. So originally, I think it started off with like 2 or 3 books, and then I go, no. Luca came up to me and be like, okay, if you're gonna make like a 4 or 5 book series, your 4th book is, you're gonna have like 4 main books in the series, and you're gonna have, and I said, I want one with her backstory, because there are like 4 different versions of her backstory in the book alone that I wanted readers to just believe until I chose the correct one. And
Who's her?
I haven't chosen it yet. I'm contemplating because I want to figure out which one works more for what was going on, and with how much power she has. And I finished writing it, and I go, yeah, this is heavy stuff, because all these bets that were being made, there were so many bets that we actually had to cut, maybe like 75% of them, just to have it flow better. And we kept the most effective ones and the ones that made most sense, and kept it in the book. And I talked to everybody being like, I want to bring in this heavy topic of mental health and suicide and self-harm, and bring in LGBTQIA plus topics, because I wanted that to be represented as somebody who identifies as being like aromantic, asexual, but also non-binary. And I wanted there to be one non-binary character. This is my child. This is Taylor. This is my non-binary character. I made them a self-insert. I brought a lot of my the details that I for me, everything's in black and white. That's just how my brain works. But also I brought in a little bit of my friend Luca, who is such an amazing person. And I brought in, and I told them, and I said, Taylor is a mix of you and me. Taylor is the introverted version of me, but the hardcore truth version of you, where Luca's very honest and brutally honest, even if it hurts, they'll be honest. And like hardcore truth, and brutal honesty. There we go. And with Taylor, Taylor was created to have that more realistic side of this not being real as much as it technically is for them. It is real. They're seeing this unfold in real life as they're playing poker. Um, and with the poker game, originally I just randomly said gambling. I didn't plan for it to be a card game. I didn't think about it being a card game until my parents had a party at home, and my dad invited some friends to play poker, and they play like twice a year. And I'm like asleep in my bed, and I could hear how loud it is downstairs and how much fun they're having. And my family plays card games. They play gin rummy, and I go, okay, there's that side of society that is more obsessed with gambling than maybe my family is and people that I know and talk to. And I want to bring in that dangerous side of it, but mix it with horror, because I myself got into horror at a much later age. Like, I didn't get into horror until maybe 2022 when we all met. And there was that area of, let me watch the Scream series and rewatch Escape the Night, as much as it's not that typical horror. It's more like campy, cringy horror that
Yeah,
I love.
yeah.
And I wanted to mix that up and be like, let's do this horror slash psychological thriller. And that put me down a rabbit hole of, what is the villain like? What would she be? How would she act? How would she look? How would she interact with everybody else? Versus how the core five would interact with each other. Because only three of them are really friends in real life, and two of them know each other from a different perspective that I cannot really say without spoiling anything. Outside as well. And I wanted a mix of personalities that were kind of like my friends, except for one character who I will forever hate as much as I love his character, but the book makes me hate him. Um, because he's such like a douchey character. We have villain, villain. We have Taylor. We have you don't see Eli's face, which is really sad. You see Eli. So each of them are based on kind of my friends.
Mhm.
Taylor is a mix between me and um or Luca and myself. We have Sylvia, who is very much so like my friend Alyssa. My friend Alyssa, as sassy as she can be, and I absolutely love and adore her because I think we've leaned with each other for like a year now. Her personality is very like bright and sunshiny to an extent when she's not dealing with shit, like we all are. We have Eli, who is not a mix of anybody that I know. Actually, Eli is just a very much so typical, like the Danny Zuko of horror and thriller for my book. We have
Okay.
Lillian, who is a very shy character. She's like my friend Nicole. Very shy, introverted. She doesn't want to be in the book for the game. She doesn't want to be in the game for the game. Like, she has no interest in this. She's just there to support her friend Sylvia. And then we have Dante, who's a douchebag, and I absolutely hate his guts. He is every guy that, or every person who's done probably my friends and I wrong. He's just that personality. He is like a jock and like that stereotypical douchebag character that you want to kill off very early in the book when you should not. Um and the more that I wrote, the more that I'm like, okay, this is getting like, again, being the first book, I mean, it's not always going to be the best book or the best version. And I go to Luca and I said, here, take a look at this. Tell me what you think. And Luca goes, do you want me to edit this? Do you want me to be your editor? And I'm like, absolutely. So then you go into that part of, what are plot lines we should and should not, we should and shouldn't keep. And that mainly was the bets. That first part was, what bets are we deleting and what bets are we keeping? Now, the only people who fully knew which ones we had originally had in the past was you to an extent, Lakey. Lakey 100% knew because Lakey cosplays as Nexara on her TikTok, and Luca, myself, Katie, and anybody who was there from the beginning. But mainly it was just mainly us. The only people who knew of the changes are Luca and myself, and now you when you read the full thing. So when those changes had happened, I was very hesitant. I was very stubborn. I didn't want anything to change, but we realized that things had to change for it to go the way that I wanted it to go. And the way we thought it would be better done. And Luca goes, okay, so what if we kept this, 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 and this? And I said,
Yeah, I think I called you an a-hole when I read the full book.
oh yeah, you did. We got called assholes. But basically what had happened was I wanted to bring more. I wanted to hurt people. Like I just said, make them cry. Make the least emotional person in my friend group cry. Like that's how bad I wanted it to hurt. And Luca goes, okay, so let's do it this way. You and I could talk about the first half of the book, or 75% of the book. These next couple chapters, I will tell you what I'm going to do to an extent, and you can tell me yes or no. But you are not allowed to read it until I am done editing. Because I want you to read this from a reader's perspective versus an editor, publisher, etc., like organizer, original creator perspective. And so I go, okay. And it's like the day before we're sending it in, or the night before, we're cranking it out. And it's maybe 1:32 in the morning the next day. It was like a Monday morning at that point. Luca had work. I was supposed to believe have work as well that day, or I had things to do around the house. And Luca goes, okay, I want you to read this, but there are certain songs that I want you to listen to while you read these chapters. And I believe I have the old list up, or the old, I don't even remember anymore. Where's my last message to Luca? Because we just talked recently. Here he is. So Luca had me send, if I could just look up Spotify. No, this is, nope, I can't find anything. Okay, did not find a certain scene. I can't find it. Nope, never mind. I'll find it later. There are certain songs that Luca had me listen to while writing those scenes, when reading those scenes, and they had such a bigger effect. I think one of them was, I think it was called Hold On. Oh, whoa, we said hold on a lot of times in these conversations. I don't know where in the conversations they were, but basically with Weavers, they had they're gonna make the playlist eventually, send it to me. It might have been on my old phone, so I can't find it. But basically when I got to a certain word in a certain scene, that was when he sent me the link to the Spotify. And I was not a happy camper because I ended up crying more than I care to admit. It's all in DM, so you think that's Luca. Are we talking about love? Oh wow, we could send each other. Oh, there's our podcast. Um, I don't think I could. Is this it? Nope. I don't think this is. Oof. You know what? I'll just have Luke send it to me later. Um, but there was a certain word in near the. I think it was like a certain chapter, and I had to pause while they sent me the link to the song, and it made it 10 times worse. Like I cried, and then I was finally able to calm down. And I'm like wiping my eyes, and I read the filler chapter next, and then we read the next chapter. Um, and again, Luca goes, "I have a song for this chapter," and I go, "Oh, you do you?" And they go, "I want you when you get to the certain word, I want you to pause, and I'm going to send you the next song." And they do that, and I cry two more times after that. And I'm a very sensitive and a very emotional person. So that sometimes says nothing to a reader if they are the least emotional person reading this book. Um and again, I don't expect everybody to cry. It just made me cry coming from somebody who has mental health issues and as somebody who with being non-binary, I wanted this written correctly, so which is why I brought Luca into the mix. And Luca and I had fun with this. It was a very complex book to write because there's six different personalities you're writing for, all while rewriting certain plot lines. Because there's a plot line, again, to those who have known, who knew what I had written in the past with the book and the original plans, there's a certain plot line that was not erased, but it was moved to the second book to have a bigger effect. And that was a plot line that we get to explore a little bit more. And I don't think I've cried this much reading a book in a while. Especially with the love that I have for some of these characters are second to none. Um I think just the editing process, it was a lot more grueling because it was being able to have to connect with Luca on days when we both weren't busy, which was a lot of the time we'd be calling really late at night, up until maybe midnight, 1 in the morning my time. And I didn't expect the book to get as much, I guess. I have very low expectations because that's just how I view myself. And it's a way of me being very hypocritical of myself, saying self-deprecation isn't sexy. And here I am being like, I have very low expectations for the book. I didn't expect to get all the love that we did from friends. Like Luke and I straight up went to my online theater server and said, Luke and I are going to be offline for the next couple days because we're pushing out the book and we're getting it done. We're getting it edited. We're trying to get this to our publisher. We're trying to get this to you. We're not going to be online. We're not responding to any DMs, no messages, nothing. The only messages we're answering to is to Kevin or to Katie or to like certain friends who've been there since the beginning and cranking it out. And everybody said, "Where's the book? Where can we get it? We want to buy the physical copy. We want to get the some people can only get the online version, which I'm all for. I've got a couple friends who um helped me to breathe after because I felt like I couldn't breathe once it was out because I know that there was going to be a mistake or two in the book. As much as I wish I caught them, or there are certain plot lines where I'm like, did I, my brain still thinks, did I do this right? Because I have some friends who are very honest. I've got my friend Emma who got her copy before I did. Her copy got here Thursday. My due to weather, mine got here Friday instead. And hers got there Thursday. and she forgot to bring it to my party so I could autograph it for her. And so I get to go visit her up on Saturday, so tomorrow, um, and autograph her copy, and I'll bring mine too, just for fun. Because I bring this everywhere with me. I do not leave it at my house. My dad's planning on reading it soon, so I'm excited about that. And there are some friends of mine who, like my friend Riley, mine, she bought it the day that it was out for pre-order, like a couple days after. She sent me a text, being like, it gets here March 5th. And yesterday she texted me, and I've been friends with Riley since like 2021, when I, for my first college, she's my roommate and one of the only other roommates I still talk to. Um, and I don't talk to many people from my first college. And she texted me yesterday, being like, "Your book is 3 hours away from me, but it's here." Um, and I am excited for her opinions. I'm scared mainly for my friends' opinions because of how opinionated I am myself of my own book. I'm a very harsh critic of myself. I feel like there's things that could have been a little bit better that I know I will be fixing in book two. Like I have an outline that I'm starting on Milano specifically for book two with every chapter plan. It's going to be a bigger book because of how much more details that there is, and there's like 6 new characters on top of the only not spoiling anything. We all know if it's a series, she's coming back no matter what. But with 6 new characters, it's very different. And her power, because she's very like she has not that much power in this book. It's just in a basement. And I love how Dea, the artist for the book, really depicted the cover. Like I gave her maybe like hundreds and hundreds of details for the book, and Dea did a really goddamn good job. And like she worked with my budget because I'm again a broke college student who's not in college right now, and trying to make as much money as possible to do what I can. And she worked with my budget, and she did such a good job to the point where I'm like, hey, I want you to do the cover for every single one of my books. I don't want to find anybody else because she works with my budget. She did all the details, and with potential comics, you get to see his face finally, because nobody knows what Eli looks like except for a couple of us. For Eli, I think I said it was a mix of no, that might have been Dante for Casey Cott. No, Dante was a Nicholas Galatzine. Eli's a mix of Thing Casey Cott and KJ Appa from Riverdale. But a lot more like emo-esque, cigarettes, phone out, charming, Danny Zuko kind of shit. And he, Dea, just I love her work, and for me, if I immediately found somebody who was very kind and compassionate and caring and understanding as somebody for like with that budget, I was like, how does $100 sound? Because that's the only money I really had at the time. And she goes, that's perfect to the amount of details you gave me. I'm like, thank you. Like if I had to pay any more, I think I'd have to pay in like increments if that was even a possibility. And she did a really good job. Like I don't like, this is my stubborn butt saying this. I don't want another artist. I just want her. In it works well with the storyline. Yes, these are more of a cartoonish version of them, but I have so many plans for that for just the first book alone. Like Luke and I had talked about haunted houses for fun. And Luca goes, I want to be a scare actor. Can I be one version of Nixara? I go, you be the first one, but I want my best friend Vi to play this version of her near the end. And it just throughout the book, it's very fun to see her description change from the human version of her to what you really see and what the characters see. And I would be wanting to run away from this very quickly. I would be doing bug spray as much as possible. Pepper spray, bug spray, whatever is possible, like kill it with fire kind of situation. Um, but it feels like I could slightly breathe. But my friends had made it a good point. Oh yeah, I think so too. I think my friends made a good point in saying you can't stop because if you do, and people, again, I have very supportive friends, so if they'll buy the second book no matter what. For me, it's the being told like you can't stop writing that series because if you stop right now, even when you're in the planning stages of it, you have to keep grinding out each book every year or so because your book left off on a cliffhanger. So the fact that your book left off on a cliffhanger means that you definitely have to start planning out your second book, the synopsis, the characters, plot lines, making sure there are no loopholes, making sure that questions are answered. Because there have been some books that I've read or started reading or shows that I've watched that have loopholes or questions that were not answered. Stranger Things.
You mean plot holes?
Yeah, there's a lot of shows that I absolutely love and adore, and I wish I read the books, or with Heartstopper, there's no unanswered questions. A lot of my questions were answered. I felt like with Shadowhunters, there was a lot of um questions I had, especially with Mal. Like I'm obsessed with Magnus and Alec, and I didn't read the books. I've only ever watched the show, so of course, my questions will never really be answered. Yes, yes, Katie. Yes, that's how I'd be running away from Nixara. I would be like, in all honesty, um, if I saw the human version of her, I'd be flirting up the wazoo. Um, I would. That's my way of getting out of it. If it was just that version of her, and I never see the other version that the characters see, I would 100% be flirting with her. And people can understand why with half the things she says in the book. She's a very sexy and sultry character. She's also a very complex character because of how I don't do sexy. I don't do sultry. I don't do flirting. I can't. I find it very hard to write it because sometimes it makes me very uncomfortable, but I also have to push myself to be uncomfortable to be able to write a good book. And so with Luca helped me a lot more with Nick Zara's lines because they were able to make it the way that I envisioned it to be. And I go, yeah, see, now I have a problem with the fact that Nixara is hot as fuck. Think Emerald Tabaya and the actress who plays as Lilith from Shadowhunters. A lot of these characters are based on Shadowhunters. Oh boy. Or at least their face claims are based on actors and actresses from Shadowhunters. There's a theme of dark and mysterious Riverdale, whatever, Shadowhunters. Um, but a lot of it was like, I don't know, it was a lot of fun, and it is something that I get to look forward to. I get to push the limits with relationships and the friendships between the characters because I had never planned on bringing up them being friends again. And Luca goes, you can't do that. You cannot just say that they're friends in the circle and not have them interact outside. And so we did these filler chapters where things happen in between the bets and the game and her to the point where she affects them outside in the school. And so with book 2, I started talking to Luca about this and I said, I want her power to grow. So the game is no longer in the basement. It's in an abandoned bar right outside the college campus. Like
Well,
it's like
that's a teaser.
college students normally would go to drink, but it now affects professors and it affects students who may not know each other at all, but it's their business, it's their majors specifically. Like I think I have Where did I put the book server? I had my Discord organized earlier. No, that's cast list stuff for audiobook stuff I gotta do later. We have like a professor of literature and folklore. Um, and we talked about how folklore would be tying directly into Nexar's myth, which gives this professor a built-in obsession with legends and immortality through recognition. So the first book focuses on the character's wants. It focuses on secrets. Book two is focusing on um I'm getting asked questions for things I should not be answering right now. Online theater again. But basically with the second book, it focuses on recognition, politics, obsession with wanting to be seen and heard, and wanting that version of power. And so each book focuses on a different topic. This is secrets, mental health. The next one is on immortality, recognition, but there's still that backstory of these characters that I get to work with. I get to work with this male character who his daughter dies at a very young age, and he wants her back, but the way that you know it's he just wants to bring his daughter back. He's the how do I word it? It's not like the black sheep, but he doesn't want the recognition. He doesn't want that. He just wants his daughter.
Mm.
Um, you have the dean of the school who gets roped in, and the reason why she and she's like the dean of your university, but she majored in political science. Her desire is to have influence beyond the university and wants to shape the world, maybe even run for office. So she's into politics. She wants power. And that's all she obsesses about. We have the journalism major and the creative writing. And with the power that Nexara has, you never know what can happen when you learn too much about a certain character. We have
And if anyone wants to get a copy of the Reaver's Table, it's on Amazon. The link is right here in the comment section. And it's also, hold on one second.
you
Gotta
get
find it. And it's also on Barnes and Noble if you want to grab it at Barnes and Noble on online as well.
yeah. But yeah, each I'm excited to see where it goes and how it grows. My friend Emma had already noticed a couple of mistakes, and I go, "Yeah, thank you, love you. See you later when I visit you tomorrow." Um, but basically, I'm excited to see what people think of the characters and their backstories and their relationships with each other. And some of these secrets are like dark, like we got heavy topics, but it's a fun topic to work with. And with Luca, I talked to them being like the next book probably won't come out for another year. It's like 2027. So I have like two books I gotta focus on at the same time. But this one kind of with it leaving off of a cliffhanger and with how many things we have planned for it. This is taking over more than I expected it to. The kids I babysit for got to see the cover of it, which was cool. They love our work, and hearing from like a 10-year-old being like the cover is really cool, although I am scared of her. That's good. Although I feel bad
Uh,
saying
it's a really good book though.
But yeah, half my friends want to kill me now. I told our friends, our online theater friends who have bought the book as well, being like, if you don't want to kill Luca and I, you're the problem, not us. No, I'm kidding. If we didn't have an effect on somebody, and if somebody is not, without, I kind of look about this because I am the Tom Holland of my book.
Yeah.
I still want to spoil things.
I have to say we have come up on time.
Ah,
With
I'm kidding.
But before we hop off, can you let us know what's your socials we can follow you on to keep updated with you with your
Um,
book?
we have a TikTok and my friend's messaging me right now. I have a TikTok and Instagram called the Weaver series, so that's we don't have anything up there yet, but we're planning on introducing the characters on there slowly but surely and like their aesthetics. We have my Instagram, which is like Augie underscore insane. I have a YouTube for like online theater, but I'll probably end up start trying to plan little commercials for my book on there called Augie's Mule Archives, I believe. My Facebook, I believe, is still Augie's Adventures TCP. If not, it's Augie underscore insane. Augie's underscore hold on. Augie's underscore pastry underscore paradise for my baking business. Um, but yeah, the one that I'll mainly probably be using within the next couple weeks is the Weaver series so that we could start fully promoting the book. I'll be on my TikTok, which is Augie Insane. I'll probably be going live later tonight, tomorrow, whenever I'm not annoying my friends. To start talking about the next books and the next plans for the series. So yeah.
Heck yeah. And I'm Kevin Davis. You can find me on Instagram at I am Kevin Davis Official. Facebook, I am Kevin Davis CEO. YouTube at Kevirsyle. And you can also find me here at the Kevirsyle Network on the Madness Entertainment Group because we're all mad sometimes. Or all the time. It just depends on the day. But thank you, Augie, for coming on.
Thanks for
And
having me.
again, if you guys would like to purchase her book, The Weaver's Table, it's on Amazon and it's also on Barnes and Noble. Links in the comments on this live video. And now we will see you guys next time on the new episode of Kevirsyle Network. Catch you guys later.
Hi guys.
If you missed the live viewing of any Madness Entertainment Group production, you can find all our content on Roku or as a member of this channel. We'll see you next time on the Madness Entertainment Group.